Hi, this is A. Wesley. That ain't even just like a TI is. If you like my video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. Talking I want to talk to you today about is the Real Housewives of Atlanta season 16, episode 16. The episode started off with Shamea at the doctor's office with her two daughters, Shiloh and Shayla. And she said that by Shiloh being sick while she was off in Grenada, she just wanted to bring her back to the doctor to check out to make sure that everything was going okay. And she said that she had a little fever and she thought she had strep throat. And she said she didn't want to give the strep throat to her daughter Shiloh because she had already been going through some medical stuff anyway. And so and so she brought the girl, and the girl was in a waiting room with her, and and producers asked her, "Why do you have so much oil on the girl?" She said, "Well, you know, my mama used to say if she found anything wrong with us or anything extra, she put a whole lot of oil on us. What's going on?" I say, Shamea, that is too much oil. I say the girl looked greasy with all that oil on. And then the doctor came back and told her that she didn't have strep throat and her daughter didn't have strep throat and her daughter was okay, because they're gonna, she was talking about what had happened with her husband and her mama said what had happened and she said Shiloh is doing good and she's doing good and Shamia said that even though she has two girls, Gerald wants a little boy and they're really trying to get a little boy. She said they did try to uh to go back to the surrogate, but she said the thing fell. It didn't go through. It fell with the new surrogate. So she said her and Gerald decided to wait. I'm not saying that they decided to wait because of this. I think all this stuff going on with Shamia and Shiloh being real sickly and having medical issues and stuff. I think they kind of thought about it, but I think Gerald also got a little backlash because I was one of the ones that was saying that these men need to stop trying to be so hard on these women trying to have babies from them and stuff because it kind of reminds me of the Greg and Sweet Tea situation that was on Married to Medicine last year and stuff like that. And I was saying that they just need to kind of just wait and see what's going to happen. So now she said her and Jill kind of are holding back before they have another baby through a surrogate. And I said that was good and stuff like that. Then it switched to the next scene. And the next scene was Phaedra at a house, and she was talking. She was talking about that her son Dillion, both her sons grew up on Real Housewives of Atlanta. She her son Dillion. He likes to draw, and he likes to draw, and he wants to make his own clothes. Cause she was saying that Dillion couldn't find no khaki pants to wear because he liked to wear khaki pants. And when she tried to take him shopping to go buy khaki pants, they couldn't find nothing inside. So she said she told him, "Why don't you make your own pants since you like to draw and do all that stuff?" And so she said she told him that if she got him a sewing machine, would he make his own pants? And she said he made his own pants. And then Peggy said, "Well, let me try on a pair of your pants." He said, "Nah, they just for me. They just for me." And he said, "Ooh, you look good in them pants. You look good in them pants." And she said she getting Dylan a lot of help. And she was saying, Aiden is more like her. He's very smart. He wants to get into politics. He likes to do stuff with history and stuff. And she said her other son wants to be a designer. So she said she's giving them all the help that she can while she's here and stuff. So she asked them both to come into the living room, and she said, "I have something to tell y'all." She said, Dylan and Aiden, I'm supposed to be, we supposed to be having a fur fashion show in the vault. And she said, it would be nice if we be able to it would be nice if we be able to preview your jeans there, Aiden, your khaki pants. She said, "You think you'll be ready to go?" He said, "Yeah, I'll be ready to go, Mom. I'll be ready to go. I'm here." She said, "Are you sure?" He said, "Yeah." She said, "You know it's this Saturday. You got to look at this Saturday." And he said, "Yeah, I'll be ready." And she said, "Aiden, what you gonna do to assist your brother, help your brother?" He thought about it. He said, "Well, I'll be his manager." She said, "Yeah, that's my business manager." And he said, I'll get 10%. And then Dillion said, no, you get 2%. And they said, 2%, 2%. And then she said, well, y'all can work that out and stuff like that. And so it switched to the next scene. And the next scene was Kelly at her house. And she was telling her daughter, Chloe, that she can't wait till this divorce that she's going through get finalized. She's been going through a whole lot of stuff with this divorce. And she was saying, hopefully the day will be the day they finalize the divorce. And she told her daughter, she kind of nervous about it. And her daughter told her, everything gonna be fine, Mom. Everything gonna be fine, Mom. She said, Chloe, excuse me. She said, Chloe, wish me some good luck. And she said, okay, I wish some good luck. And then Chloe closed the door. And, after she hugged Kelly, she closed the door. And then the producer said they couldn't go in the courtroom, and they said when they came out the courtroom, and that's when Kelly was in the car with her publicist, and she was saying, "I thought this divorce was gonna be over," and the judge said this, and the judge said that, and she said, "I've been going through this for so long." He said, "Yeah," he said, "Yeah, it was real bad in there. It was real bad in there." And then she got to her house. And she still was talking to the puppy. She said, I thought we were going to be divorced by now. She said, but then the man wound up going to jail for not paying child support. That ain't my problem. He didn't pay his child support like he was supposed to. And then next thing you know, doorbell ring, and it was Shamea. And Shamea said, girl, I came to check up on you, cause what you did for me, when I was going through my stuff, how everything going? She said, everything going all right. She said, have you talked to Britt yet? She said, no, I haven't talked to Britt since the party, since the event. And she said, she didn't call you. She didn't call me. She didn't give me no letter. She didn't do nothing. She said, I don't know why she upset about me telling my glam team they can't work with her no more. That was nothing for nobody to get upset about. And so Shamia said, ooh, I'm sorry to hear about that. She said, what about what's going on with your divorce? You divorced yet? She said, no. She said, huh? What went on? Why? And she said, because while we was in the process of getting divorced, the police arrested my ex-husband and put him in jail for child support. She said, huh, child support? He not paying no child support? She said, no, he ain't paying no child support. She said, I hope everything get better for you, Kelly. Let me pause this video and drink some water. I'll be right back. The next scene was the waffle event. Kelly had they showed a flashback when Kelly had came over to visit Angela, and uh, and Angela was telling Kelly that Charles know how to really cook good, and maybe they should have a cook-off. She said, "Oh yeah, you know how to cook out. You know how to cook waffles." He said, "I know how to cook everything." So they showed that little flashback, and she was saying she had been sponsored through Williams Sonoma since 2019. So Hans Williams Sonoma would do little pop-up shops and stuff. And she also said in her confessional, Kelly, that she started her chicken and waffle business in 2016. So that was about 7, 8 years ago. And so she was saying she's been doing a lot of pop-up things and pop-up shops with Williams Sonoma. I heard of Williams and Noble too. And Williams and Noble, they got a Williams and Noble in Houston. I think it's over there by the Galleria area where they sell a little bit of everything. Because at first, when I first heard about them, they were promoting their underwear line and stuff a couple of years back. And I was saying, oh, they sell fancy underwear, but now they say Williams and Noble sell about everything. But anyway, everybody showed up to the waffle event, and Kelly came in all her white with her long ponytail, and she was saying, "Yeah, I'm good sponsor with Williams Sonoma, and I'm glad to be doing this cookout with with Charles Oakley." And she said, "We're gonna see who waffles taste the best." He said, "I got my waffle stuff here." She said, "You got your waffle stuff?" He said, "No, you use my waffle stuff." He said, "Okay." And so Angela said, I'm telling you, Kelly, he really know how to cook. And she said, well, I know how to cook too. And so Angela came, and when she came, Drew hugged her, and then also also I think Phaedra came. Yeah, Phaedra came, and yeah, it was yeah it was, yeah and it was yeah it was Phaedra came. It was Phaedra and what you call. And then while they was at the waffle thing, they showed a scene where Britt Eddie was saying that she took Phaedra's advice But when they was in the car from Grenada, when Phaerda told her that if the girls don't invite you nowhere, you invite them over to your house with a couture board or whatever you call it. And so she did that. And so she invited Portia and Cynthia over. And Cynthia said, "Oh, I'm happy to see you. I'm so glad you invited me over." She said, "Yeah, I took Paige's advice and I decided to have some of the girls over and stuff so y'all can get to know me. So y'all can get to know me a little bit better and I can get to know y'all a little bit better." Cynthia said, "Yeah, okay." And then next thing you know, doorbell rang again. It was Portia, and Portia showed up. Portia said, "Oh, I was just so happy that you invited me. I was just happy you invited me." She said, "Well, I'm glad you invited me." To do so. She said, "Don't mind the little mess over there. We renovated Portia." Portia said, "I ain't worried about that." So they all went in the living room and stuff like that. And then it switched back to Angela and them, and they were saying, "Well, whose waffle tastes the best?" And then so they got to looking and said, "Well, next waffle came up." And then Drew said, "I hate to say it, Kelly, but Charles waffles brought me all the way back to my grandma. It tastes real good. It tastes real good." And then Patty said, "Well, let me taste. Let me taste." She said, I hate to say it, what you call, but Charles really can cook. He put his foot in this." Is what Patty said. He really did do it. And then they said, "Well, who actually won?" And then then they said, "Oh, he got a score right here." He said, "Well, they say it's a tie. I'll take a tie." That's what Kelly said. "I'll take a tie." And then next thing you know, this strange man came up and said, "Angela, uh, I know something. I got to tell you something." He said, "What is it?" "I know something about your husband." He said, What about my husband?" "Your husband cheating on me." He said, "Huh? Who? Do I know you from somewhere?" He said, "No, you don't know me and I don't know you." She said, "What you talking about?" And then Drew said, "Well, who told you that?" And he said, "Well, I'm just letting you know." And so what happened, Angela said, "Well, I don't know this guy, I don't know this guy." And then next thing you know, she said, "I sure hope Charles didn't hear it." And then Faith said, "I don't think Charles heard it, because if Charles would have heard it, something else would have broke out." Faith said that's confessional. And then next thing you know, they was getting ready, and Kelly said, "Let's toast, let's have a drink to the event going off real good." And everybody had a good time. And me and Charles had a good time cooking. I said, "Yeah, let's have a toast." They was all doing a toast. And then that man gonna come up and say, "Yeah, let's give a toast to Angela Oakley and Charles Oakley and Angela Oakley and Charles Oakley cheating on Angela Oakley." And then she said, get him out of here." And then Kelly said, "Yeah, get him out of there." So the security guard was showing him out. And Kelly said, "Well, well, she said, "Well, Angela, you know I ain't nothing like that. I ain't for no disrespect. Did you actually know that guy?" I said, "No, I ain't know that guy. I don't know who I even walked up in to me, up to me talking to me and stuff like that." So after they escorted them out, and they escorted out, switched back to the scene with what you call. And she was saying, "Yeah, I just want to get to know both of y'all both." And she said, "Yeah," seemed like a little bit more friendly. And she said, first said, "Have you talked to Kelly since what happened in Grenada?" She said, "No, Kelly haven't called me nothing." She said, "But I just found it mighty strange that she was acting a certain way toward me because of a glam team. She asked me to be on her glam team. She said I could use her glam team, and I didn't mind using her glam team." And then she said, "I don't know why she was acting that way toward me and stuff in Grenada and stuff." And she said, "Well," Portia said, Cindy said, "Well, maybe, maybe she felt that her glam team was doing more stuff better for you." And then Portia said, "Yeah, but it ain't real good to use people glam team and stuff." And so she said, "Well, she could have told me that in my face instead of just blending out with all the people and stuff." And she said, "Well, how you and Shamea relationship?" First, me and Shamea relationship was good. We done made up." And then Britt said, "Huh? You done made up?" She said, "I got text messages where Shamea was talking about." Said, "But I thought that was over. Shamea talking about me again." She said, "I'm gonna show you the text message." But she showed text message. She said, "Yeah, Shamea said that you said this to your to your doctor." and stuff. And then Portia said in her confession, that was that wasn't no friend. That was my therapist, and I found that very strange. You telling me you talking to people about the conversations I had with my therapist, and I said I couldn't agree wholeheartedly. Portion. Now that's one thing that I really agree with that Shamea was wrong with. You don't be discussing people business when they tell you they talking to their therapist and stuff because that's supposed to be private and confidential. And she said, "Well, I'm just gonna put a pin in right there, and I'll talk to Shamea about that later." But I thought this was over. And Cynthia said, "I thought this was handled too." And then they switched to the last and final scene. And the last scene was everybody showing up at the what you call. And Phaedra said she told everybody got to be there on time, got to be there on time. That's why I told my sons they got to be there on time because not only the people coming to the bunk, the beautiful, but we have very, very high class, expensive people coming. And so, Angela said, "Where's Drew?" And then Phaedra said, "Well, I told everybody to come on. And I told them to lock the doors. They're gonna hear. Everybody got to be at 6 o'clock." And then they say Drew peeping in the door, looking outside. She said, "Well, I text Phaedra and told Phaedra that I was gonna be a little late because of traffic. I showed all the traffic and I was stuck in traffic, and she locked the door." So they started showing the people buying the furs and doing the furs. And then the last thing they showed, she said, "Oh yeah, this is some girl from Love and Hip Hop Angel something." And then they had Derek Blanksdale, doing the furs. She said, "Ooh, with just his look right there, he could sell these furs." And then so all the ladies were sitting down and stuff. And so, Brit and what you call got into it, right before the thing, and she was saying, "Yeah, Lisa," and she said, "Yeah, you calling me a W? You've been calling me a W for a while." That's what Brit was saying. "And you gonna stop calling me a W?" And she said, "Well, you didn't want me to use your glam team. You just said that, but you was using everybody. You used my makeup person, my hair person, stuff like that." And stuff like that. Said, "Well, it didn't have to be a big deal. You could have did that. You didn't stop there and said, at least I didn't have a whole lot of abortions and stuff." She said, "Oh, you gonna talk that about me? You can't have no babies. You W. You just want to be me." And then Bush said, "I don't want to be you, you little hobbit." And then Peggy said, "Ooh, this is worse than anything. Point match is what you're in the game." And next thing you know, they started back with the fashion show. The next thing you know, Sweet Tea showed up. That's why they let Drew in there. Now they tried to make like that Drew was late and they locked her out. I think the plan was for Drew to stay out there until Sweet Tea came, and then Drew and Sweet Tea was supposed to come in, what you call. And so Drew made it interesting by she acting as a police officer for some of his hot wings and stuff, and that was kind of cute. And then that was the end of episode 16. I liked it episode 16. I liked it all of episode 16. There was kind of hit and misses a little bit, but the majority of the episode was good. I'm gonna do episode 17 in another video. That's all I have for this video. This is A. Wesley. That ain't even tells like a TI is. I am out.